The managerial merry-go-round at Ibrox looks like it's finally slowing down, and not a moment too soon. After weeks of uncertainty and frustration from the stands, it now appears that Rangers have found their man. Reports emerging from multiple sources suggest that Kevin Muscat has agreed to take over as the new head coach, marking what could be a major turning point for the club as it tries to get back on track. For many fans, the name Kevin Muscat has been circling for a while now, but this time it feels real. It feels imminent. And above all, it feels like the start of something fresh, maybe even something bold. Muscat, the Australian who's carved out a reputation overseas as a tactically sharp and no-nonsense manager, seems set to return to Glasgow, this time not as a player, but as the man tasked with leading the team forward. His appointment might divide opinions, as big changes always do, but there's no denying the sense of intrigue. He's not your typical Scottish Premiership hire. This is a manager with experience far beyond the borders of British football, having built solid success in both Australia and Asia. Now, with Rangers in the middle of yet another transitional phase, the timing of his arrival could prove crucial. This isn't just about a fresh face in the dugout. This is about resetting the culture, the standards, and the direction of a club that's been drifting ever since the early promise of the season gave way to inconsistency and doubt. Russell Martin's short-lived spell came and went in the blink of an eye. Just over 100 days in charge, and the team looked lost, uninspired, and far from the level demanded at Ibrox. His sacking wasn't just inevitable, it was necessary. And now, the pressure is on the board to show that they've learned from past mistakes. Kevin Muscat's name wasn't pulled out of a hat. In fact, he's been in the conversation more than once in the past. But this time, the stars aligned. His track record with Melbourne Victory, where he implemented a highly aggressive and organized system, followed by his success in Japan with Yokohama F. Marinos, painted the picture of a coach ready for the next big challenge. And what bigger challenge than taking over Rangers in the middle of a storm? But while fans are looking ahead to what Muscat might bring tactically, off the pitch the situation is just as delicate. With no permanent manager appointed before this weekend's crucial Premiership fixture against Dundee United at Ibrox, the club remains in a strange limbo. Stephen Smith, from the under-19 setup, is set to take charge for now. That stopgap decision says everything about how urgent this appointment has become. The board needs stability. The squad needs leadership. And the fans? They need hope. Meanwhile, a storm might be brewing from a completely different direction, the Premier League. Thomas Frank is wasting no time stamping his authority on his Tottenham side, and his recruitment plans are already causing nervous glances from Rangers supporters. Reports indicate that Spurs have turned their attention north of the border, with none other than Nico Raskin catching their eye. The Belgian midfielder has been a rare bright spot in a season otherwise filled with setbacks and questions. Despite the chaos around him, Raskin has continued to show why he's one of the most promising talents in the Scottish game right now. At just 24 years old, he's already on the radar of clubs across Europe. Over the summer, there were whispers of interest from multiple English and continental sides, but Raskin stayed loyal to Ibrox, at least for the time being. His current deal runs through to 2027, but we all know how fragile contracts can be when Premier League money comes knocking. And Spurs are not the only ones watching. But with Thomas Frank now reportedly identifying midfield reinforcements, Raskin fits the bill perfectly. Young, dynamic, technical, and with bags of potential still to unlock. His recent performances for Belgium during the international break only helped raise his profile. He was praised for his control and energy in the middle of the park, with media back home calling him one of the standouts in their win over Wales. That kind of exposure only ramps up the pressure on Rangers. Because while the new manager situation is the headline right now, losing a player like Raskin would be a huge blow. Not just for what he brings on the pitch, but for what it would signal about the club's current standing and ability to hold on to its top talent. The Premier League is an unforgiving beast. It hoovers up talent with no remorse, and clubs like Rangers, unless they're on firm ground, are often powerless to stop it. If Raskin continues to perform at this level, Rangers will face a decision. Offer him an improved contract and a real project under Muscat, or accept the reality that a big offer next summer might be too good to turn down. Either way, it's a situation that requires clarity and urgency, two things the club has lacked in recent months. Now, Back to the Muscat situation, because while the agreement appears to be in place, there are still moving parts. Reports suggest that a seven-figure compensation deal with Shanghai Port is close to being finalized. Muscat, who's currently managing the Chinese Super League leaders, is expected to see out their title push before making the move to Scotland. It's a respectful decision, one that recognizes the importance of finishing what he started. Rangers, for their part, are said to be comfortable with the timeline, even if it means an official announcement will have to wait until after Shanghai's next fixture. If all goes according to plan, the Australian will be unveiled over the weekend, and from there, the real work begins. He's expected to bring with him former Rangers winger Neil McCann as part of his backroom staff, a move that adds a layer of familiarity and experience to the dressing room. And it's clear that the board sees Muscat not just as a short-term solution, but as the figurehead of a longer-term vision. That's why a long-term contract is on the table, and that's why the club is prepared to wait a few more days to get everything aligned properly. Of course, it hasn't all been smooth. The process has faced delays, time zone issues, legal formalities, the usual complications of an international appointment. But progress is described as steady and positive, which is more than can be said about the last few weeks at Ibrox. Since Russell Martin's dismissal, it's been all about damage control, and now, finally, a sense of direction seems to be forming. It's important to mention how he got here. After Martin's sacking, Rangers Vice-Chairman Andrew Kavanagh and board member Parag Marathe released an open letter to supporters. It was a rare moment of transparency, acknowledging the club's recent failings and vowing to fix them. They took full responsibility for the poor performances, the results, and most importantly, the decision to part ways with Martin. They also made a promise to find a manager capable of restoring Rangers' identity, both domestically and in Europe. And in Kevin Muscat, they believe they've found exactly that. The board's message was clear. They know the fans are frustrated. They are too. They admitted they didn't get the last appointment right and committed to putting things back on track. That kind of honesty, while rare in modern football, was a necessary step to rebuild trust. Because let's face it, the mood among the fan base hasn't been great. For Muscat, this is more than just another job. It's a return to a place where he once played, a chance to lead a team he already understands on some level, and an opportunity to apply everything he's learned abroad to one of the most demanding jobs in British football. His coaching style is known for being intense, tactically structured, and relentlessly attack-minded. If he can bring those elements to Rangers and blend them with the standards and passion already embedded in the club, then this really could be the start of something special. But with all the moving pieces, from the final stages of contract negotiation to who will actually be in the dugout for the next European fixture, there's still a bit of uncertainty left to clear. Fixtures against Kilmarnock, Hibernian, and the League Cup showdown with Celtic are all on the horizon, and they'll test the squad's resilience during this transition. Whether Muscat is on the touchline by then or not, the club needs to steady itself quickly or risk letting the season slip away even further. While the appointment of Kevin Muscat is generating cautious optimism around Ibrox, the truth is, there's no time for a honeymoon period. Rangers are neck-deep in a critical run of fixtures, and every single point matters now. The club's European ambitions hang in the balance, and domestically, they're already playing catch-up. The mood in the stands has been on a knife edge, and unless results start shifting in the right direction immediately, the pressure will return faster than you can say old firm. Muscat will be walking into a squad that has talent, no doubt, but also a group that's lacked direction and belief in recent months. The biggest issue under Martin wasn't just tactics or formation, it was identity. The players often looked confused, reactive instead of proactive, and far too passive for a club that demands dominance. Muscat is known for instilling discipline and purpose, for drilling his teams with structure, but also giving them the freedom to express themselves in the final third. That balance is exactly what Rangers have been crying out for. But make no mistake, the job ahead of him is massive. This isn't Japan or China. This is Glasgow, where every match feels like a cup final and every press conference carries the weight of expectation. Muscat will need to hit the ground running, not just with results, but with performances that convince supporters the team is moving in the right direction. That starts with organization. Rangers have leaked goals at the worst times, dropped points in matches they should be winning comfortably, and lacked the kind of grit you expect from a title-challenging side. These are issues Muscat can fix, but he'll need full buy-in from the players and immediate support from the board. There's also the question of recruitment. The January window isn't far off, and with Muscat set to arrive just weeks before the market opens, plans need to be aligned from day one. He'll likely want to bring in his own players, not just to fit his system, but to reshape the mentality in the dressing room. Reports have already hinted at a short list being drawn up, including a few names he's worked with previously. That's not unusual, and in fact, it might be exactly what's needed to spark life into a squad that, at times, has looked far too comfortable. But before any transfer activity, before any tactical revolutions, the immediate focus must be on steadying the ship. The next handful of fixtures will be crucial. With Stephen Smith taking charge temporarily, it's vital that the team doesn't fall any further behind in the league. Points dropped now could have lasting consequences come May. It's also unclear who will be leading from the touchline in the Europa League clash with Brann, and that's a concern. European nights demand experience and composure, not just from the players, but from the technical area. If Muscat can't be in place for that match, it's up to the staff already in position to show they can handle the pressure and make the right calls. And while the focus is on the short term, the long-term project cannot be forgotten. This is about more than just rescuing a season. It's about building something sustainable, something that can challenge consistently for titles and make a real impact in Europe. That's the bar. That's always been the bar at Rangers. And it's what Muscat will be judged against. Looking at his background, you can understand why the board feels confident. His time in Japan wasn't just successful, it was transformative. At Yokohama F. Marinos, he took over from none other than Ange Postecoglou and managed to continue, and in some ways improve, the high-tempo, possession-based football that made them so difficult to play against. He didn't just maintain success, he made it his own. Then, moving on to China, he stepped into a very different environment, but once again got results. Leading Shanghai Port to the top of the table in one of the most competitive seasons they've had says a lot about his adaptability and leadership. What stands out is that wherever he goes, Muscat imposes a clear identity. And that's exactly what Rangers need now. A strong voice, a clear direction, and a refusal to accept mediocrity. The players need to be challenged. The standards need to be raised. And the entire club needs to get back to doing the basics right. That means clean sheets, urgency in possession, sharper pressing, and smarter decision-making in the final third. Those are non-negotiables if Rangers want to get back to the top. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. In what could be the shock move of the season, whispers from inside the football world suggest that one of Stoke City's brightest talents is on the verge of leaving the championship behind to try his luck north of the border with Rangers. The rumor mill has been spinning at full tilt, with sources hinting that the Scottish Giants are eyeing the midfielder who has been a standout performer for the Potters this campaign. Fans at the Bet365 Stadium are reportedly in disbelief. It would be madness, one supporter commented under a social media post, while others speculate that the lure of European football and the chance to compete for silverware might just be too tempting to refuse. Rangers, long considered one of the powerhouses of Scottish football, are said to be keen to bolster their squad with fresh talent capable of making an immediate impact in both the Premiership and continental competitions. The Stoke star, known for his electrifying pace, sharp vision, and knack for turning games around, has caught the attention of scouts well beyond England's second tier. While official confirmation is still pending, insiders suggest that talks have already begun and a deal could be on the horizon. The potential switch has sparked a flurry of speculation across fan forums, with some predicting that the move could open the door for other championship talents to make the jump to Scotland's top flight. Rangers supporters are buzzing at the thought of a new recruit who could light up Ibrox Stadium. Meanwhile, pundits are debating whether leaving the championship at this stage of his career is a bold step forward or a risky gamble. One thing is certain. If this rumor proves true, it will send shockwaves through both English and Scottish football circles, leaving fans across the UK eagerly awaiting the next twist in this intriguing saga. For now, it's all hush-hush. but the excitement is palpable. Will the Stoke star embrace the chance to shine for Rangers, or will the championship see him light up for one more season? Only time will tell, but the whispers are loud, and the anticipation is growing by the day. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.